In the 1800s, the Thembu people of South Africa faced difficult times. Colonial rulers were looking for ways to weaken and divide them, and they saw an opportunity to interfere in Thembu leadership. This is a story of Nonesi, a remarkable woman who became regent of the Western Thembu during these turbulent years. Nonesi's journey was filled with loyalty, conflict, and constant challenges to her authority, as she tried to lead her people in a period of wars, internal divisions, and colonial pressures. Royal and humble greetings to each and every one. Nonesi kaFaku was the great housewife of Ngubengcuka and twice regent of the abaThembu. She was the daughter of King Faku kaNgqongqoshe, the last ruling monarch of the United Amampondo Kingdom. Nonesi was the foster mother of Mtikhaga, a Thembu leader, and she had a close relationship with J.J. Warner, a government advisor who played a significant role in the Thembu affairs. When the colonial government decided to divide the Thembu, they appointed Nonesi as regent of the Western Thembu and a man named Joyi as regent of the Eastern Thembu. This was an unusual move since it was not traditional to have two regents. Many disagreed with this decision, believing that only Nonesi should be regent, while Joyi should hold a lesser title as a chief. This situation showed the colonial government's growing interference in Thembu affairs, creating tensions among the people. By 1850, the Thembu were already divided by land and politics, struggling against the pressures of both white settlers and neighboring African groups like the Tsaleka. Many young Thembu warriors were unhappy with the colonial control and joined Maphasa, a local leader, to prepare for war. In December of 1850, the War of Mlanjeni broke out, and Maphasa brought many of Nonesi's warriors with him in the fight, making the conflict larger and more intense. Some of Nonesi's people even used guerrilla warfare tactics, attacking colonial forces in unexpected ways. While Nonesi tried to stay loyal to the colonial government, many of her young warriors were drawn into the excitement of the war. During this time, Nonesi earned respect and the title Nonesi the Faithful for her loyalty to the colonial government. She moved her clan to the Kredok district to protect that area from invasion. However, Nonesi's control over her people was not absolute. In January of 1851, a group of her warriors attacked a colonial commando led by Gideon Joubert. Joubert retaliated by attacking Nonesi's people, scattering them and demanding that they pay a large tribute of cattle and horses. He also ordered Nonesi and her people to retreat beyond the Mbashe River, and Nonesi obeyed, likely recognizing that she had limited control over her people and needed to avoid further conflict. The war continued until 1852, when Maphasa died unexpectedly. With his death, his followers lost morale, and the Thembu resistance weakened. The British government, frustrated with how long the war had dragged on, replaced Governor Sir Harry Smith with Sir George Cathcart. Cathcart quickly pushed for peace, believing that the time had come to end the fighting. Despite protests from frontier farmers who wanted complete victory over the Thembu, kaFaku pardoned the Thembu chiefs who surrendered, including Nonesi. As part of the peace terms, rebellious tribes lost their lands, which were given to European settlers, and the Thembu were relocated. Nonesi and her people were allowed to return to the new location west of the Indwe River, known as Tambuki location. Here, she was given the title Paramount Chief and governed with JC1 as the government's representatives. This settlement turned out to be challenging for Nonesi. Although the title Paramount suggested permanent authority, her power was never fully accepted. Some Thembu chiefs and rival leaders, like Fadana, a former regent, challenged her authority, while others like Chachu resented the loss of their lands. The colonial government chose Nonesi as regent because they needed someone to control the large Thembu population near the frontier. However, her position was never easy. Traditional Thembu customs held that there should only be one paramount leader of the whole nation, and this role had traditionally belonged to Joyi. Nonesi's appointment, backed by the colonial government, was seen by some Thembu as unwanted division for their monarch. Although she tried her best, her authority rested on an uneasy balance of loyalty from her people, the support of the Thembu agent, and the stability of her neighbors. Any disrupt could shatter her fragile control, and the coming years would show just how weak these foundations were. In 1856-57, the cattle-killing movement, a tragic and desperate attempt by some Xhosa and Thembu to resist colonial control, revealed how unstable the situation was in the region. During this episode, Nonesi's authority weakened further as hunger, unrest, and confusion spread among her people. Many were unhappy with the peace terms, and tensions over land and leadership grew stronger. Nonesi's life as regent was filled with complex challenges. She was a strong leader who earned respect as Nonesi the Faithful for her loyalty to the colonial government. However, her position as regent was complicated by colonial interference, internal rivalries, and constant pressure from both colonial and neighboring forces. Although she tried to keep her people united and loyal, Nonesi's authority was never fully accepted, and her leadership remained fragile. Her story shows the difficulties that African women leaders faced as they tried to navigate the challenging landscape of colonial rule and maintain their people's independence, traditions, and unity. Now that was the story of Queen Nonesi, twice regent of abaThembu. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Until the next one, thank you for watching.